A recent World Bank report shows, and I'm quoting from an article on the subject, quote, that climate change is an acute threat to poorer people across the world, with the power to push more than 100 million people back into poverty over the next 15 years. And the poorest regions of the world, Sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia, will be hit the hardest, end of quote. Because a green bond, of course, simply means one whose proceeds will be applied to climate and environment-friendly or green projects, we are witnessing an alliance between finance and the environment. Two worlds which even a few years ago one couldn't imagine would speak the same language. A buzzword in this new language is environment finance. And environment finance is the other name for this rare win-win scenario. An opportunity to deepen our capital market and to make a dent in combating poverty and inequality. Many of us may never have heard of WUNA. I hadn't heard about it either until about 2 years ago or so. A village in the Gwagwalada local government of Abuja. It's an agrarian community. It's not on the grid and has no real source of light or power. To charge their phones in Wuna village, an entrepreneur with a small generator runs a service. So you take your phone to a shop once a day or so, and you pay a small fee for charging. Life in Wuna shuts down at about 7 p.m. until daylight. But we decided, working with the NDPHC, that's the Niger Delta Power Holding Company, to provide a sustainable renewable energy solution, a solar-powered solution. A company called Azuri, which had done similar work in East Africa, was engaged to provide an end-to-end solution to this problem, including a payment system, so it's not a free service. 3 weeks ago, I went to see for myself, and for the first time in their existence, the village now has running water, which is solar-powered. The school that is there also has power. The school hall is now used as a community hall in the evenings. Each home has 4 points of light. Children can now stay up and do some studying at night, and many of Wuna's women who make a living from sharing millet and yams are able to do so for longer hours in the evenings. New jobs have been created. Solar installers, maintenance and solar operators, and payment systems. One guy has lost his business in Wuna, the phone charger. Every household can now charge their own phones. But he now charges phones of other residents in other villages. We're doing 20,000 more homes in the first phase of this project. Important investments of this sort will benefit from the Green Bond. Another project which will benefit from the Green Bond is the Renewable Energy Micro-Utilities Project in 45 communities. This is essentially providing 45 solar-powered plants for benefiting communities. An important feature of the 2017 budget is the Energizing Education Project, which also will be one of the beneficiaries of these green bonds. Power has posed a major challenge and barrier to effective learning, institutional operations, and student residencies in our universities. So this program will improve access to power to 37 federal universities and 7 university teaching hospitals across the country. It will also impact the residents of surrounding communities, a total of about 1,110,000 people. In total, 119 megawatts of power will be provided in this scheme, out of which 60 megawatts will be solar-powered projects. The Ministry of Environment has also developed an afforestation program which will benefit from this bond. The aim is to increase forest coverage through the planting of seedlings to cover 131,000 hectares of land. This will not only reduce emissions but create hundreds of jobs. With the issuance of this green bond, we set a benchmark for ourselves and the wider market and begin to aggregate resources around elements of our economy that seek additional funding. Issuing green bonds are also a tool to support the shift to non-oil-based assets and attract private capital to finance these assets at a challenging time for our economy. Doing this as a sovereign gives us the opportunity to lay strong foundations that serve broader markets to bonds issuance and a pipeline of projects to states. It's important to note the transparent nature of the green bond process. The hurdles to scale are not very different from the typical steps in developing and implementing federal projects. However, this requires a little more scrutiny and ties resources to results. This is in line with our commitment to good governance, as this is a key to sustainability and investor confidence. This initial issuance will set the tone for subsequent bonds that will not all be issued, we hope, by the federal government. Being the first to be listed on the stock exchange, no index exists yet, but this issuance will develop it and hopefully then attract serious private sector players to issue larger bonds. Clearly, it is the private sector's involvement that will sustain the green bond revolution, especially by mobilizing and aggregating around our key economic goals. We expect that some will be attracted through a screening of the federal budget to identify the green elements such as renewables and off-grid solutions, mass urban transit, smart agriculture, irrigation, afforestation, etc.